Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If this is your first time, LC, and this is
Tony.
AK. You look like you have something to say.
Well, yeah, I did have something to say, and some people might laugh and some people might not. But anyway, I'm sure you will laugh at me. Roald Dahl, famous author, and they were going to rewrite some of his books by putting in different sort of terms. And I'm sitting here, grossly overweight. The word for it is 3 letters, fat. And Roald Dahl's books, the publishers wanted to sort of change that because they felt it was an insulting, a potentially insulting word, offensive.
Yeah.
So we want to take all these things out, make everything sanitized and gender neutral. What was quite interesting was the choice of word. They wanted to substitute fat. They thought we'll be tactful.
Right.
What did they pick? No, it wasn't just plump or comfortable or chubby or cuddly or anything like that.
What was it?
Enormous! It's enormous! That's why I'm sitting here, enormous.
Enormous is supposed to be better than fat.
It's supposed to be, that's right. Right. You are an enormous person. So I just thought that's but yeah, that's my little contribution in terms of sort of something that really tickled me.
That's really funny.
That is, I know.
I don't know how enormous is better as compared to fat, but anyway.
Well, they probably looked up the thesaurus and what a synonym. Hey dear me, fat. So there we go. So what are we talking about this week, Elsie?
This week we're talking about it's a very light topic. Just
we'll see what we can do about that. Go on.
Yeah, we're talking about some of the things that irk young people about older people. Some of the things that get on our nerves about older people. Basically, yeah.
Okay.
So some of the things that annoy young people about old people. I think there are quite a few things.
Okay, that's interesting. Would you care to sort of mention a few?
Well, I think first and foremost is the fact that a lot of old people demand respect. Yeah, that's one of the main things, and in as much as that's the normal thing as an older person. Like as a young person, you're supposed to give respect to older people, but then I'm sure by now we know that respect cannot be demanded. It's kind of earned. Or what do you think?
Well, I think I agree that it shouldn't be demanded.
Yeah.
Because otherwise then it becomes the kind of respect, for example, that sort of dictators in other countries at the point threatening people to kill them, all of a sudden they get people saluting and standing to attention. And that's a form of respect, but it's a very forced and false one. Earned, yes, obviously you think you'll respect somebody more if they've done something heroic or difficult or whatever, worthy of respect. But there's maybe also an intrinsic respect that you have for an older person. You think, well, not for any special reason, but because you're looking at your future. And when young people don't, as a matter of principle, respect those older, they're actually, when it's their turn to become old, what kind of a world are they creating for themselves? Because along with respect goes a bit of care, a bit of whether it's giving somebody a seat who needs one, helping somebody across the street, particularly if they want to go, otherwise it's a hell of a struggle. And I read about that, a Boy Scout doing his good deed for the day, and he said, I helped an old lady across the road, and the Scout leader says, well done. He says, it was a heck of a job, and she says, why was that? He says, because she didn't want to go. I needed to fulfill my good deed for the day. But seriously though, I mean, a lot of old people don't help themselves, I have to admit, as an older person myself, because if you're being bad-tempered, inconsiderate, demanding, these are not qualities which are going to endear you to anyone, young people or even people your own age, you know. So I think that a basic modicum of respect should be shown to an older person on the basis that they are an older person.
Yeah.
But the over sort of the the hero bit is if somebody really has earned it, as you say, has done something worth respecting him for it, you know.
Yeah. Well, another thing is that I hear a lot of people say that old people are like they act as if the younger generation owe them, like especially like if you were in a family setting and then like say your parents take care of you and then at some point your parents become indisposed, then they're expecting you to take care of them, right? I mean, in a perfect world, that that would be the way to go, and I wish everyone could do that. But then sometimes if you have a job to take care of, or you also have a family to take care of, then you can't necessarily put your life on hold, and take care of your parents 24/7. Even though we wish we could.
I hope your parents taking this on board and making suitable arrangements.
I am speaking on behalf of other people.
That's right, yeah.
No, yeah. What do you think about that? No, because, well, I'm just thinking about, like, even parents take their kids to boarding schools on the basis that they have really, really busy jobs. So they also dish out their responsibilities to schools to raise their kids.
Right. I mean, I would hope there was some better reasons than that you're sending your child to a boarding school so that they have a good education, a good environment, all the rest of it. Not just a case of, well, I'll get rid of the brat for a few years, you know?
Well, to be very honest, I haven't come across parents who took their kids to boarding schools just for the sake of the quality of education that they were receiving, because there are a lot of quality schools that you can take your children to that are day schools.
Okay.
But a lot of times parents will take their kids to boarding schools on the basis of they're just busy. Like they don't really have time to take the kid to school and pick them up every single day.
That's right.
So
you're sending to boarding school.
Yeah.
So on that basis, where if your parents become incapacitated, you don't have to feel guilty about sort of booking them into the old person's home. This is payback time, Mama. You left me in a boarding school because it was inconvenient.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Sorry.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, if we're all doing what's convenient for us, no, I'm not saying if someone takes their kids to boarding school, it means that when they're incapacitated, then their kids should take them to an old people's home as well. No, I'm saying that even if your parents didn't take you to a boarding house on the basis that happens, that parents would sometimes choose their jobs over their being in their kids' lives 24/7. So it's actually a thing. But I feel like it's more acceptable that parents should dish out their responsibilities to schools, whereas when at a latter stage, when kids start their lives and then they're like, I wish I could, but I'll take you to really, really, really expensive care home. I mean, that's the best I can do for now. It's kind of
if it gets too much, I'll buy you a one-way ticket to Switzerland. For those who are not up to speed on these matters, Switzerland is where you can have assisted suicide quite legally, There we go. It solves the aged, unwell parents thing quite permanently. But
yeah. But what do you think about that? It's something that I think about a lot. I mean, obviously, where I come
from now on, your parents will think about it a lot as well.
No, I'm just no.
Is it possible we can ask Facebook? You know how they restrict the internet in certain places. This program, can we ask
them not to
YouTube,
parents,
not to show this out, not to show this in Ghana.
No,
oh my God!
Do you know? Funny enough, the whole idea of a care home is not common in Ghana. It's not common practice. It's really not common practice in Ghana. It's more common here. Obviously, because I would say that the family system in Ghana is a bit different from the one here, because we're more into the extended family thing. So even if your own kids couldn't take care of you, you'd have a nephew that you took care of some time ago to take care of you, or some grandchild, someone somewhere. So we don't even I can count on my fingers the number of care homes that we have in Ghana, whereas over here it's quite common.
Yeah.
It could be because of the system here,
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's a system that we've allowed to sort of creep up on us by the shame, if you like, I say shame advisedly, of the family breakdowns here.
Yeah.
Whereas even if they weren't traditionally as much into the extended family as some cultures overseas, it still was, really, when you think of it. They mightn't have all been living together, but there was that closeness, a cohesion in the family, and people taking care for each other. The kids at their stage of life needed more care, naturally, especially if they were ill, from father, mother, and aunties, uncles, cousins, whatever, older brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So over the last so many years, family sizes have fallen. There have not been as many older brothers and sisters. They've been the one or the two. They haven't had to do that. And with so many breakdowns in relationship, so, it's not a case of who's your in-laws, who's your auntie. Well, there's not that same kind of closeness as that's the one who's been my aunt forever. And, undoubtedly, if sometimes a person is in a situation, you say they just can't do anything because of their own family ties, where they're living, kids at school, living the other side of the country, okay, they've got to look after their family. But in other cases, it's really a case more of convenience. And if there's a love strong enough, then we usually try and find a way to make something happen, rather than excuses to not make it happen. And so, and once again, in care homes, there are lots of good and loving and dedicated people, but there's lots of who are not. And maybe some of those homes should be described as don't care homes, because it's don't care on the part of the work. Some workers, they're working their minimum wage. They're having to sort of take care of people in a sort of terrible state of their life, with dementia, fouling themselves, all the rest of it. And literally, it's a case of their own children, of those people. If their own kids can't be bothered, they've delegated this to somebody else. Well, how do you expect them to have that same kind of... It's hard enough to have that real care and gentleness with your own blood relatives, never mind with somebody else's, for £10 an hour, especially when the person is awkward, as many old people tend to be, especially if they're losing their minds,
Yeah, and it's no fault of theirs, is it?
Yeah, but yeah, I think old people, in a way, they should certainly be more understanding of young people, because they've had the experience of being young themselves, recognizing that young people probably will get an awful lot of things wrong. Okay, but so did we get an awful lot of things wrong.
Still,
where's our pristine record that we can say, look, we never made a mistake? People say, well, I didn't do that when I was your age. I didn't do that, and it's true.
Something else.
They did something else, and maybe the only reason I didn't do that was because either the technology didn't exist or the social freedom didn't exist. Otherwise, I'd have been out there doing whatever. So they shouldn't be sort of moralistic about it. But on the other side, you've got, if an older people in general have learned something. Whether they to put it into use, into practice, is another matter.
Yeah.
But they have learned sometimes through painful experience what works and what doesn't work. Now that's useful if they can impart that. Although every generation seems to sort of want to make the same mistakes again, because there's a kind of an arrogance. Arrogance. There's arrogance for old people. We know it all, but my God, there's an arrogance for young people in terms of know it all as well. Absolutely, you can't tell me anything. I know your way is gone. You know, this is the new way. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Until a few years have gone by, and you think, oh my God. And that's even before sort of aches and pains and arthritis develop. You know, you think, well, it's one thing having a dream or vision is another thing to actually live it, to put it into practice.
Yeah, there was a funny comment that a friend of mine passed some time ago, and he said that, you know, like when you're young, and then like your parents keep, oh, don't do this, don't go out after this time, don't follow these kind of friends, don't do, and sometimes the things they say, they totally do not make sense, like to your young brain, like right. It's just like, it's just, you know, it's just this, or it's just that, or it's just, and some of the training that my mom would give me is like, don't have too much of anything, like basically, whereas I see some of my friends that would have a lot of soda and like their parents don't mind. But my mom used to give me soda to school, like she'd give you like orange juice or something.
Right.
And I was like, I'm a kid, why are you trying to make me so healthy, you know? But my friend said, by the time you realize that everything your mom was saying was true, you'd be a mom yourself by then. And then it might be a little too late, but then it happens with everyone.
Well, yeah.
Like when my mom was a kid, her mom was saying something, and she's like, "Oh,
whatever."
And then she got to a certain age, and I'm sure she was saying the exact same things that her mom was saying.
Well, by analogy, you could use that as an analogy for sort of, if instead of mum, talk about older people. So the things that older people say to the younger ones, you know, the younger ones say, no. But when they grew themselves, they say, and okay, the particular old person that might have been sharing that with me or telling that to me might have been unpleasant, it might have been silly, it might have been all grumpy, all sorts of things, because of maybe the failures and the hurts of their life. But what they were actually saying, because this is where we need to be able to separate the message from the messenger. Is the message right, regardless of who's delivering it? Whether it's old or young or anything else, you know. And a good message comes across. I don't know if I don't think I've said this. I've said to you before. I don't think I've actually said this about the lesson I learned from this dog one day.
You've said it to me, but I don't think you've said it on the program.
Okay, well, this was a fantastic, I'll be honest, one of the best lessons of my life. And as far as I know, the dog didn't have any proven academic qualifications.
Not that you knew of.
Not that I know of. And, but yes, I saluted as figuratively, and I might even literally have raised my hand, I can't remember. But he was a big, ugly, sort of kind of pit bullish type dog, and he had this branch of a tree. And the branch was too strong for him to snap it. He was dragging it and driving it and tearing it, and he wouldn't give up. And I looked at this and I thought, you silly thing. And then I thought, hang on a second, look how determined that dog is. I hope I'm as determined for anything that I feel that is really important. Of course, the downside is being too much attached and trying too hard for something which isn't good. But if you really have got something which you can see, you feel in your bones is good, then and that's why I said I saluted the dog. Professor, you've taught me something. That's right. And no, you don't have to rush out and look for dogs in fields, but be willing to sort of have our eyes and ears and hearts open, so wherever the lesson is there, and it can come from all sorts of surprising places, old and young, because my gosh, the young have something to, I suppose, maybe remind the old of as well. Because most old people were young people at some point, and most of them would remember doing something that kids would do, whether it's playing ball or doing this or just daydreaming or go running on the beach, whatever. They would do something. And as a person gets older, they very often forget that spontaneity and that just, goofing off. And sometimes that's good. A young person can remind an old person of that. And then all of a sudden they're on sort of, the years slip away and they're sort of on common ground, Wow.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, there's definitely a very good opportunity for sort of sharing.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Personally, I think I normally associate with people older than me because there's so much to learn. Like, even a lot of people would say that like the vibe is different, like obviously because the kind of terminologies that people my age would use is different from, but at some point you realize that the vibe is not necessarily necessary at some point, like when you really have things to learn from the older generation, then vibes and terminology it's not really up there on a scale of needs. But final question though, do you think old people are happy, like generally? Do you, because I know a lot of people don't like to spend so much time with old people because they're like full of regret sometimes. Like,
yeah, I'd go along with that. I mean, most of my friends are younger. In fact, you were saying you learn so much of older people.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that's open to you, not to me, because. Boom. Yeah, I mean, if I was, where do I find an older person? You know? That's right. But now, having said that, I try and make up for it by sort of reading. I mean, they're all dead people, but some alive ones as well, and that helps because there's a lot of good stuff out there. But yeah, learning off young people, it's sort of that. In terms of, you might always, well, apart from technology, of course, not there, the older person has to sort of, you're the boss, teach me. But apart from the practicalities of that, a lot of the other stuff, the young person is just helping remind the old person of what they've maybe forgotten, and that's a very, very useful task. Not just with the failing memory bit, but I mean, actually, you get into a way of life and you forget what it's like to be spontaneous, and to take a chance and to not worry so much about failure and things like that. Although, having said that, a lot of young people do stress about failure as well.
Oh my God, yeah. Do old people stress about failure as well?
Well, in the sense that, they can feel that was that it? I can see my life is sort of so much over. Statistically, I'm sort of 95% or 90% of the way through life, whatever happens to be. And, well, I mean, I made so many mistakes. I did this, I did the other. I didn't achieve what I thought I was going to achieve. And then, of course, the hopelessness comes for that person, and I can't really sort it out now. There isn't going to be any new career for me, or new qualification, or new partner, or new whatever,
Wow, I mean...
And... so the next significant life event I'm waiting for, people don't want even to talk about, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, I'm pretty free talking about that, it's got to sort of be relaxed and recognise that yes, it's absolutely inevitable. I mean, if one wanted to be sort of schneid about it, you can say, well, any person who just laughs at that will find, look, you'll get yours as well. Don't worry, it's coming. Nobody gets out alive.
Nobody gets out alive.
It takes a few more years, but that's fair. But not to be bitter, to recognise you can't change the past. That's been what it's been. We haven't got that. And if we want to change the future, we've got a chance there. But we've got to change the future, not in the future, but by starting in the present.
Yeah.
I know. That's the bit. Doing that now, because the present will shape the future.
We can't wait till the future to change the future.
Well, I know.
That's actually a really good quote. You should probably write it down somewhere. If you had to say like one thing to young people for the rest of your life, what would it be? Like if you just had one thing, like if you had the platform to drum one thing into our heads for the rest of your life, what would it be?
To drum one thing in? Oh my God.
Just one thing.
Just one, yeah, well, that's the problem. No,
There's so many things.
The wouldn't, okay, so it would have, something is to have to reach across culture, across genders, across everything else, and be something which will be useful long term.
Sensational.
Right. Well, don't take too long, Tony. It's just, you've got, I think, to really discover who you are, and I can only do that, I think, by discovering some kind of real purpose in life. Now, sometimes a person might think they're called to a horrible purpose, maybe an example being a suicide bomber, and they feel that's their purpose in life. Well, it's pretty sad when you feel that's the kind of thing which fulfills your life. But if your purpose is not something which is going to hurt or harm people in that kind of way, then find that purpose. Because if you've got that purpose, you'll have motivation to do all sorts of things which you wouldn't have otherwise. Because you think, well, like, whatever, what's the point?
What's the point? Oh my God,
Yeah, find your purpose, and then finding your identity, of course, tied up with that purpose is that you're a person of value because you're focused, because you do have a purpose, something which is good. And why not? Why should it only be left to certain other people to do good things or dream big dreams or anything else? If you're young, you should have that.
Yeah. Well, I think the one thing that I would tell old people, if I had the chance to tell them, is
I'm all yours.
Calm down. What I would say is it's really not over yet until it is actually over. Like when they actually
enormously
like when they literally dig your grave and put you in. No, I'm only saying that because when you meet a lot of old people, they literally, I wouldn't say give up on life. I mean, obviously you get to a point where you really just want to relax, but I've also met a lot KFC, a lot of people that fulfill their purpose when they, like, at an older age, right? There's really no age limit to when you can actually fulfill your purpose. So you shouldn't feel like, oh, I wasted my time when I was young. So at this point in time, there's really, really, really no contribution that I could possibly make to the world. There's always a contribution you can make to the world, no matter how old you are. Even children make contributions to the world. How much less someone who's lived for 70 or 80 years? There's definitely something you can contribute. And we, as young people, would really love to know what contribution that the older people can, even though sometimes we act as if we don't listen, and we don't, but we'll try. We'll do better.
Well, I was going to say I wouldn't just blame young people for that, because just humankind, our whole world. Look at it. We're present in this wretched war in Europe, with Russia and Ukraine, whatever. Wouldn't you think that in all the thousands of years that we've been slaughtering each other for every different colour and race and gender under the sun, different religions, different whatever, surely we somewhere would have reached the conclusion that we've got to find this better way. We really have to find this better way, because this is literally killing us, And the other terrible thing about it is that there's always civilians suffer, the weakest suffer, but the ones in the front line are almost invariably the young people. I think it'd be far better if there was going to be fighting with the old people. Terrific, Let's go. Please, yes, you go and sort the others out. But we'll cheer you, rather than send all the young people to get millions of lives. So there we go. But so old people are very, very bad at learning from experience as well. This is the same.
We all are.
It's one thing knowing something; it's another thing then learning from
Putting it into practice.
So there we go.
Okay, guys, we've come to the end of our program.
Yep.
Quite interesting topic.
I hope they find it interesting, though.
I hope you find it interesting. If you've watched this point, I'm guessing that you're enjoying the program. So you kindly like, comment, subscribe,
and share.
And until next time, it's bye for now.
Bye.
If you like this video, kindly like, comment, and subscribe. You can also find us on other social media platforms, on Twitter at Talk with Tony and on Instagram at talkwithtony.live. Don't forget, live, laugh, and most importantly, love. Watch out for the next video. It's bye for now.